Hello everybody and welcome back to Spirituality with Gabriella. So today I am sharing a little bit about what it is like to be psychic. So if you are curious how to not only develop your psychic abilities, but what it's actually like to live as a psychic person, I'm just going to share some unfiltered messages and my unfiltered experience of how things have been for me. So I hope that you find this helpful, and I'm going to be 100% honest throughout this entire video. So let's get started. So the first thing about being psychic, which I actually really enjoy, is I always feel completely safe and secure knowing that I have a team in spirit that is watching over me at any time. And this has honestly just given me so much confidence in my life to feel like I'm not alone. I really can't do anything wrong. Instead, everything is just a spiritual lesson. And so because I am clairvoyant and claircognizant along with other clairs, I have the ability to be able to see and hear from my spirit guides. And it's not like we're talking all the time. Like, it's not like I'm always having side conversations. It's more just like a deep knowingness for me, and it's a deep knowingness that they are there. And just having that sensation fills me with so much peace and harmonious energy, and that's something I am incredibly grateful for. And it's actually really helped me take some very big risks in my life. So, for example, leaving my corporate job, which was like a great job, 6-figure salary, to do my own business in a completely different industry and realm was something that was really scary at the beginning. But I just knew that all of these things wouldn't be happening to me if it wasn't meant to be. And so I really trusted my spirit team during that time. And I still really trust them and speak with them in my own way every day. And just having that sense of peace has meant everything to me. So I'm so grateful for that. And that is, I think, the first thing that comes to mind about being psychic. So the second thing about being psychic, which is a little bit on the more negative side per se, is it can be draining. So when you're psychic, generally your energetic vibration is a little bit higher and more sensitive, meaning that, you might walk into a room and pick up on someone's energy immediately. And I feel that many of us do this intuitively, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be psychic, but especially as you become more psychic and you start literally getting like downloads and messages from above or from higher planes, you start to vibrate at a higher wavelength, and it can be very draining sometimes, especially if you're actively using your psychic abilities. So if you're using it towards your profession, like I do, for example, I really have to do a lot of energetic protection and a lot of practices in order to make sure that I am a healthy vessel, that I am secure, that I'm clear. And unfortunately, I have had experiences before where I wasn't doing those things. And let me just say, it didn't turn out well for me. It was extraordinarily draining, and it can even make you like physically sick. So you really need to protect yourself when you're psychic. And it's kind of hard because it's the same thing as going through burnout. It's almost like you don't know how important it is until you see the flip side. And especially if you've developed your psychic abilities really quickly, which can happen to a lot of people, it can be hard for you to understand that you have to protect yourself. Because honestly, at the beginning, when you're psychic and you have just uncovered these abilities, it can be really fun. And you're like, oh my gosh, these are some cool new abilities. Like, I'm so excited. And you just want to share it with everyone. But over time, if you continue to do that, it is likely that you will run yourself into the ground. So it's really, really important to protect yourself in the best way that you know how. So I personally always call in my highest wisdom. I say a protection opening prayer and closing prayer. I make sure that I meditate before and after every single session. And just think about it logistically, though, it can be hard, right? Like if I'm leading an event and there are 40 people there, I need to make sure that I meditate before I walk into the room. After the event, my channel is still wide open. I'm still getting messages for people. People are wanting to talk to me, and I haven't yet closed down my channel and come back to center. And so there's little things like that where, of course, I know how to work with it. But if you become psychic quickly, you just really need to watch yourself and make sure that you're putting yourself in situations that are going to be in your favor as opposed to situations that won't be. So that is one piece of advice I have if this is something that you are experiencing currently. So what else can I tell you about being psychic? Well, it's pretty cool. I mean, It's pretty crazy because you begin to realize that our universe is literally like a matrix. And if I see something and I see it really clearly in my mind's eye and it hasn't happened for the person I'm speaking to yet, and then they call me and it's like 3 months later, 6 months later, 12 months later, and they tell me that it happens, I just get this deep feeling of excitement, and it's almost like getting butterflies, honestly. It's like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And it still blows my mind to this day that my spirit guides like trust me enough to be able to send me images that are so clear and that I can describe them and articulate them in a way that other people understand it. Like that still blows my mind, and I feel so grateful truly from the bottom of my heart to do this work because I know how special that is, and I know that this information and knowledge is sacred. And I also know that when you're psychic, it's almost like you're being chosen spiritually. Like this is something that you sign up for, and also something where your spirit guides need to trust you enough to give you those messages. And so that's why a lot of people who are psychic tend to be a little bit more empathetic or sensitive or kind hearted. Of course, not always, but in most cases. And that's something that I'm just really grateful for. So that feeling of excitement and like seeing someone's life unfold and knowing what is possible for them and tapping into this energy of expansion, being able to kind of just nudge them a little bit along the way is something that has really meant a lot to me and has helped me become a better coach as well. And on the flip side, this is maybe the fourth thing I'll share. It can be pretty hard to hang out with people normally when you're psychic. So I'm a pretty normal person. I always have been. But I have noticed that my energy can get drained a lot, even if I'm not doing any kind of psychic work. So just social situations where there's like a lot of people. I love people and I love connecting with people, but it's a lot because you're not just meeting the person, you're also meeting their energy. And I purposely close my channel so that I'm not always getting like energetic messages, or else I would go insane, honestly. But even so, I just noticed that normal people who aren't psychic have a little bit more of life force energy to just kind of power through and not think about things. And they can kind of be a little bit more reckless, and, they can go out all night and stay out till 3 a.m. and they won't get super tired because of it, or it won't really affect them that much. And of course, I'm talking in very broad generalizations, but at least for me, doing any kind of energy work and especially being psychic, I just think that you can't really put yourself in those situations, and it calls you to really take care of yourself in a whole new way. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that having fun and staying out till 3 a.m. isn't taking care of yourself, because for some people it is. But for me personally, I've just found that all of the little habits and the upkeep in my life are so important, and I can never let go of that ever. Like I have to be doing meditation, yoga, I have to be journaling, I have to be sleeping enough, and even one night can really set me off. Whereas in the past, before I was psychic, it really wouldn't set me off that much, and I could work until 6 a.m. if I wanted to. Like that's what I did in college. But now, not so much. So you really, again, have to protect your energy. And there is like a little bit of sadness that comes with it, just to be honest, because there have been moments where I'm like, oh, obviously the positives outweigh the negatives a lot, but it's a little bit of a double-edged sword where I've had moments where I've experienced like really deep grief and sadness, feeling like I used to be able to like hang out with people like normal, like it used to be so easy. I didn't have to always be thinking about how to protect my energy. I didn't have to always be like, oh, now my channel's open, now my channel's closed, like things like that. So, I mean, it just is part of it, and I would never trade it for the world. I know that I'm here because this is my purpose and this is my mission on earth, and I am so grateful, like I said, to be able to do this work. Like it literally brings me to tears, like multiple times whenever I'm reflecting on it. But, it can come with sadness, and I think that it's kind of like something that you can't really understand until you experience it, and it can be very isolating because obviously not most people are psychic. And the last thing I would say, which I've already touched on, is I think that when you're psychic, you just develop this heightened level of emotional awareness. And so what that means is you are experiencing the energy of the collective a lot as well. So sometimes you'll wake up and you'll be like, wow, I feel really heavy today, even though my life is great and everything in my life is going so well, but there's something that's made me feel so heavy. And it can be a little confusing because you don't always understand that it's not actually you. It's usually just you being so attuned to the collective energy that you wake up and you're like, whoa, what's happening? Like, this feels crazy. So like I was mentioning, I do have days where I'll be taking a morning walk and I'm by the water, and then I have a moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, I just suddenly feel so sad, like out of nowhere. And that's partly my fault because it means that my channel is open enough and I haven't like protected or closed myself enough. But again, it can be such a practice that you have to get into that, of course, we're going to experience these sensations and emotions from time to time. And so I've learned to just let these things come up and flow with it and let it out and release it. And I've had to get really used to crying in public and things like that. So I just think that it's an interesting experience sometimes, and it's something that not a lot of people will understand. In a positive sense, though, I am honestly so grateful from the bottom of my heart, like from all of my chakras, especially from my gut and my heart. I'm so grateful to do this work. Like, I wake up and I know that I can actually help someone change their life. Like, that to me is so crazy because I used to be doing things that, like, quite frankly, sorry to say it, like, didn't really make much of a difference. Like, they were making money for someone somewhere. And of course I was making an income too, but was I really like changing people's lives? Like, not really, you know? And I'm not trying to like say anything about me specifically. I'm talking about working with energy, like working with the collective energy and being able to help bring people insights and guidance that they already know deep down. They just need to hear it for clarification and confirmation is such an honor. And in addition to that, any type of energy work, especially if you're doing it with love and light and pure intention, you are literally raising the collective vibration. And so I know that by working with one person, that one person's energy up leveling literally sends out positive vibrations and wavelengths of energy to all of the people that they're interacting with. And then from there, there's a ripple effect. And so we are quite literally, when we're doing any kind of energy work, be it meditation or be it Reiki or breath work or whatever, there's a lot. We are literally collectively spreading light across the world. And what's most important about that is when we have so much light across the world, it means that there's gonna be less war, there's gonna be more compassion, there's gonna be more understanding, there's gonna be more space to be feeling emotions and not having to twist ourselves or be so intense all of the time. And that is a big shift that we've been going through as a world and as a universe. So I just invite all of you to continue to kind of flow into that and see how that sits with you. And I do want to say spirituality is spirituality. It's what you make of it, meaning that for some people, like they want all the terms and they want a glossary of definitions and that's their way of being spiritual. For other people, they don't want any of that and it's just more about the lifestyle and the practices. For other people, being spiritual is just being present in the moment. Like, it might not have anything to do with certain practices or beliefs. So I just think, like, make it your own. And it's very much the same with being psychic. Like, when you're psychic, it doesn't necessarily mean that your eyes are going to roll to the back of your head and you're going to go into a seance and you're going to start talking in voices and things like that. So just know that, like, there's no right way to be psychic if that's something that you're experiencing and developing into. And there's also no right way to be spiritual. So anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you saw a little bit more about me behind the scenes. That's something that I really have been feeling more called to share with you all, just so you understand the reality, the ups and downs, the good and the bad, because like everything, there's darkness and light, and that is the same with the experience of being psychic. So if you are curious to learn more or would like to work more with me, I will be hosting my second round of my coaching program, Ignite Your Purpose, in February 2023. This coaching program is designed to help you identify your purpose. So we're chipping away at many different things, our inner child, wounding, anything that needs to come up there. We're starting to understand our strengths. We're starting to understand what we can offer to the world. And this program is a mix of business coaching and also spiritual coaching. So I do channel for you and we bring in your spirit guides and I share specific messages that will help you get to your path. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the links down below. In addition to that, I also have one-on-one readings. Of course, I also offer psychic surgery, which is basically a way of releasing stuck energy or emotions in the body. And then I do Reiki and a bunch of other things. You can check all of that out down at the links below too. And I also have downloadable content on my shop. And that's just my way of making it a lot more accessible to a wider audience. So I hope that you will make use of that and start learning a little bit more. All right, my loves, thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.